Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we've got actually quite a lot of news to touch on. Something I already did a video on her today, Lady Mikage, but a couple of additional pieces of advice just in case you didn't see that video yet. She is live in the game right now, right? This is on live servers. The fusion is there. You can go and you can do it. As I showed in that original video, once you fuse one of these legendaries, you cannot fuse them again. I would highly recommend, even if you own these legendaries already, to get the epics and fuse the legendaries first, if it's any way possible, so that you get an extra copy of the legendaries, right? Because let's say I already had Tatsu. If I was to fuse this up, I'm almost certain this fusion would disappear and I wouldn't be able to fuse another Tatsu. So definitely trading in 4 epics for a legendary is super worth it. So I definitely recommend doing that, even if just for faction guardians alone. It's probably a good idea. And obviously, again, to reiterate what I said in the first video today, where we did a showcase of Lady Mikage, I would also probably try to do this during CVC, right? This right here, this is a monstrous amount of CVC points. It's a good amount of champion chase points as well if you wanted to do that. So you can do this at your time, at your leisure, whenever you want. So, but hey, I'm sure a lot of people are going to just fuse her dead. They don't care, right? Especially Krakens, they don't give a damn. They're just going to fuse her right now and have her right now. So I'm certainly interested to see what sort of teams are going to come out over the next few days. Now, we also have news about a whole bunch of events that are happening. So we do have a Summon Rush kicking off this weekend. And what is interesting to me about this is, outside of the fusions recently, we've generally been having Heroes Path events instead of Summon Rush. So this is interesting. There is a Summon Rush. At the same time, there is also likely to be, I think, a Heroes Path or something during next week, right? We need some events happening next week. I've got a bit of a sneak peek of what those are. I'm going to share that with you here today as well. But yeah, we need stuff to happen next week before the fusion starts, probably the week after that. So yeah, it should be like CVC into a fusion start probably once again. So yeah, anyway, let's dive in. Let's first of all cover the Summon Rush, and then we'll talk about what's coming after. So Summon Rush, what are the champions that are being boosted? Let's go. So we first of all have Doom Priest is going to be boosted from Ancient Sacred's Primals. All these epics are going to mention the Ancient Sacred's Primals. Doom Priest is great. Very helpful with this passive cleansing, a debuff at the start of every single one of her turns. Very useful for a lot of clan boss teams. Very useful for Doom Tower. So she is decent. In the orcs, we've got Trumbor. Oh, by the way, they moved the mythicals into the center, which is quite funny because it now feels really empty. And then it's weird when you look at a faction that doesn't have a mythical. You're like, oh, it's quite a different vibe. Anyway, what was I saying? Trumbor, who is this guy. Trumbor, again, he's an okay champion, right? He puts out some ally protection on a 4-turn. He can remove a random debuff from allies before attacking. Again, I'd say he's only okay, decent, but not amazing. And then the best one of these is Ugo. Ugo's coming in, who's obviously extremely good, and multiple copies of Ugo probably won't go astray for most people. So strong for Hydra in particular. Decreased defense, block buffs, then the heal, with also a little bit of a debuff cleanse. And the Elite J1, Ugo is like a staple of Hydra. So she's really strong. But you know, they're the epics from your Ancient Sacred's Primals. Certainly not really tempting me to spend, like, yes, Ugo is great, but it's just a random Summon Rush outside of a fusion. Not quite enough. Let's see the legendaries. Are they enough to push this over? And the first one, I actually think this is probably good timing. Like, Plarium could have been so much worse with this, right? Brogni is in this 10x. Now, Brogni, not only is he in the 10x from Ancients, Sacreds, and Primals this weekend, Brogni is right now also in the Summon Pool event, right? Imagine a world where they didn't tell us about the Corpulent Cadaver nerf until after these events. Now, obviously, they told us about Corpulent Cadaver nerf like weeks ago. That pretty much week 1, they were like, yeah, this isn't right. We're going to do something to fix it. But it took them like 6 weeks. So we knew a nerf was coming, but still, it would have been so shady to do 2 Brogni summoning events and then announcing a Corpulent Cadaver nerf after. Now, they haven't done that. So I wonder almost if this was the reason that they were pushing to get that Corpulent Cadaver nerf out a bit earlier, was like, uh-oh, we've got a couple of Brogni summoning events coming up. This is bad. I don't know. But hey, it could have been worse, right? It could have been. Brogni, he's obviously a brilliant champion. He's great. I use him all the time, even without the cadaver stuff. Yeah, he's just real solid, right? Great shield with block debuffs and increased attack. It's AoE that grows shields, which is super unique, and also removes a random debuff and a random buff. He's got HP burn A1, reflects damage with the shield, and heals, which is really strong. Brogni's a great champion. I don't know if he's a champion that you super chase. Now that Cadaver has been nerfed, like for endgame, Brogni is not like he shows up from time to time as like a decent champion, but he's not like crazy OP or anything anymore. Speaking of a champ that's not really crazy OP anymore, but still remains good and solid, is Bad El Khazar. Definitely a champion that's been power crept, right? But he puts out a couple of continuous heals and a couple of poisons, both AoE, which is nice. His A1 does a little bit of healing. His passive do more damage against poisons. It's really all about this, right? The cleanse with the continuous heals and the poisons. He still remains, again, a solid champion, right? This is a really, really good move. And yeah, you could potentially do some cool stuff with that, like in hard mode dragon. He's not bad, for instance. So Badel, again, he's a great champion. Not a champ I'd be chasing with shards, though. And then I think the best overall nowadays of these legendaries from Ancient Sacred Primals is Elva Autumnborn. Elva, I think, is amazing. Elva is fantastic for Hydra, Arena, a lot of, like, she's great for Ice Golem, great for Dragonheart as well. Great champion overall, right? The cleanse, block debuffs, increase speed on a 3-turn, single target revive on a 3-turn, lots of healing on her A1, lots of healing with her passive in the perfect veil and a speed aura. Great base stats. I think Elva is brilliant. I use her all the time. She's super good, even a bit underrated, I would say. Mini Sifi in some ways, but with the shorter cooldowns can be better than Sifi in some of these areas, believe it or not. Like Ice Golem Hard and even Doom Tower Waves. I find that she tends to be better than Sifi because of the shorter CDs, which is nuts, and the aura. Yeah, so I think Elva is great, but again, would I be tempted to pull for her? It's just a 10x event in the middle of nowhere. Again, it's not super tempting, honestly. It's not. And then we come to the Voids, and the Voids are, unfortunately, I'd say pretty poor. Skytouch Shaman, the Epic, she's great. She's a great solid Epic. She can be very helpful. Again, she's got a cleanse. She brings lots of healing. Her A1 is kind of whatever. She's got a nice aura. Skytouch Shaman, she's a great champion, but not someone that you're really chasing in a Void 10x. Again, you'd really, for most people, I think, rather be pulling into 2x Voids. And then the Legendary is a brand new Void Legendary, but I don't think he's that good. Man, people are actually giving him a decent ranking. I'm not convinced about Togron the Conjoined. He's not really impressing me that much. Like, turn meter boost with increased accuracy and a cleanse, okay. A heal with increased speed and a continuous heal if someone's low on life. He can do buff spread with his A1, which is kind of cool. And then he does have a unique passive that's permanently upping your max HP. Like, that's kind of cool, but 20% speed in all battles aura. I'm not really sure where you'd actually use him. What people are rating Hydra the best? Like, he's okay, but like the extra max HP is nice. The buff spread, I feel like it's a bit random though. I don't know. I'm not convinced by Togron yet. Considering that, you know, they've been bombarding us with amazing 10x voids for ages. Been a bit of a respite recently, which has been great, but hey, they could always start again, right? It's always possible they start bombarding us again. There's so many proven good void legendaries. Like, when it's a void legendary that has not been proven to be insanely good, I'm like, just wait. Why would you pull in a 10x for that champ? So I feel like it's a for Kraken only sort of thing, right? If you really want Togron because he's new and you're a Kraken, like, yeah, sure. But I think for most people, no. So there you go. That is the summoning event for this weekend. Seems like it's fairly underwhelming. This seems like an easy skip to me. This one, yeah, just wait for the next fusion. Wait for the next 2x events. Basically, straightforward enough. Now, what we do have, and this is interesting, over here, Ice Golem tournament starts tomorrow. There are going to be 3x drop events happening through the week. So, with Ice Golem, so Friday, it's going to be 3x Reflex set from Ice Golem. That's really good. That's really, really good. On Monday, the 16th of October, it's going to be triple Savage from Fire Knight. That's really, really good. And on Friday, October 20th, it's going to be 3x Speed from Dragon's Lair. So these are basically the three best sets. I mean, arguably Cursed might be a little bit more valuable. But I'd say give Reflex a slight edge, honestly, overall. it's probably the best 3x drop events from each dungeon: speed, savage, and reflex. It's extremely good, extremely good. So those are pretty big dungeon events. Each one's going to be up for 72 hours. This leads me to believe there's a pretty good chance there's going to be a hero's path probably running for some of this, I would guess, throughout next week, which is, I would think, probably going to give, decent rewards. It's something that people might chase. I mean, maybe it's just going to be dungeon drops with no big event going through, but I'd sort of expect some sort of like, yeah, dungeon divery. I mean, I guess Dungeon Divers is on right now. Like maybe when Dungeon Divers ends, there might be like a Dungeon Divers Heroes path. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that, but I'd be kind of surprised if there wasn't a meta event covering that next week. That is certainly interesting. I guess one of the things you could consider, instead of, you got to choose really between champ training and ice golem, I would say. This champ training does give you Bamba souls. I haven't mentioned this before. I've been a little bit down on these champion training events before. I think I've been too harsh, honestly. Like, yes, it's super difficult. You have to go super hard, but I actually think like a 4-star perfect soul is actually extremely valuable. So if you like this champ, like they've done this before with Emic Trunkheart, they did it with Islin as well. They seem to be doing these all the time now for fusions. Like, I don't know. This actually seems like a great event. So if you're able to save up and stockpile resources to go hard in champion training, it's pretty miserable. Most people hate doing that. But if you're willing to do it, like, I'd be prepared for any fusion that you think is really good. I think most people don't like Bamba, so they probably won't go for this. But the next fusion that comes out that you think is really good, it's going to be a heck of a battle to get it, but it's honestly probably worth doing, right? Like it might be as hard to do this champion training, probably not as hard as doing an entire fusion. But like it's going to be really intensive to win for a good fusion, but it totally might be worth it. Like a 4-star soul, that's not easy to come by at all. And it could make a champ much stronger. So yeah, I don't know. Again, Bambus, the temptation with this one might be that many people would not go for it. Unfortunately, I've got someone here who's put 6,000 points in already. He's going pretty hard, so I don't know. But yeah, like if you care about Bambus, it could be worth going for. Again, I think Bambus is good for Dragon Hard is his main thing. He's not bad for Hydra. Could be amazing potentially for some bosses in the future, just continuously sort of semi-cleansing your team and throwing debuffs back. I think he does really need avenging set. Like I said, I quite like Bambus as a champion, but he doesn't have, let's say, proven potential. Like I think he's got, this is not accurate. I think he has absolutely proven potential for Dragon Slayer. That's super good. Like for me, it's not important because I've got Yumiko, right? And Yumiko basically brings my reset, but also brings the whole throwing debuffs back with Hex. So I don't need him because I've got Yumiko. But if you don't have Yumiko, he's pretty good. But I'd say certainly compared to, I think that, Emic, Mighty Uko, they've been much more generally better champs in this than Bambus. But I don't know. I think this seems like it's a staple now of their events, the 4-star perfect soul champ training. I think honestly, like looking back on it in hindsight, like Emic and Uko, those are probably getting the 4-star souls is probably better than doing most of the champion training events for champions. They've done pretty bad champs in those, and they're harder to get, or skins, which are just visual. Going hard on champ training for a 4-star soul, it's not the worst thing. But look, guys, there you go. That's all the events that we're aware of that are happening at the moment. Wait, there's just a ping and announcements. Is there anything there? Official patch notes. I don't think there's anything there. Let me click on this. They've just put this live. Is there anything new? Probably not. Clan Insignia, Clan League, CEC matchmaking. Tier and clan versus clan matchups now be determined yeah, okay, we already touched on that. Minimum points. Lady Mikage fusion. The Mikage autocracy. Pretty cool. Okay, cool. Fusion's not time limited, but Lady Mikage and all the champions mentioned above can only be fused once. The Cadaver nerf is in, by the way. Oh, a whole bunch of new lore. Oh, that's pretty cool. I actually like this. They put out a lot of new lore for a lot of champions. That's pretty fun. And it seems like, yeah, Fortis, Harvest Jack, Vlad, they seem to have put a bit of an emphasis on some Halloween-themed ones this time. That's cool. Anything else here? Can I find info about all buffs and debuffs in one handy place? So I thought I saw that on someone's skills. More info. Yo, okay, that's actually really good. Great. Okay. Rage buff? Like, there's some unusual ones in here. Eternal Rage? Like, stuff that might be actually kind of difficult to check. So that's cool. Like Poison Cloud, Vengeance, Pain Link. Like, some of the more rare ones. This is actually a brilliant quality of life thing that I'm surprised has not been in the game before. That's great. Okay, that's super cool. Pop-up window after initiating a purchase. Oh yeah, you can toggle the, okay, yeah. Go button in progress missions related to dungeons. Now leads to the last chosen dungeon difficulty. Okay. And then some bugs. Let me just read through these real fast. Oh my god, I went over to pause the thing and I realized I wasn't showing you this stuff. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just going through this. So this should have been up on screen. It's not important enough, I think, to edit it out. But yeah, as I said, can only be fused once. That's a pretty big deal. Cadaver nerf is there. This is like the champion lore. Okay. And where is the thing? Nothing too important here. Right. Great. Just this stuff. Right. Let me go check these bug fixes. Then I'll be back. Okay. Nothing too massive there. I did see they have fixed Emic Trunkheart's bug in Arena. That would increase his ally skills cooldown. And Shuzan's Valorous Charge isn't going to turn meter boost enemies now, which is nice. So, yeah, that's a couple of good changes. But, yeah, I think that's most of it. Yeah, lots of news in there, guys. Let me know what you think about all that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.